Good morning, friends. It is Friday, and welcome to Morning Music with Matt here on our second to the last day of the Songapalooza Festival. So pleased you're with us this morning. I am tired. Can I just say there has been a lot going on this week, and it's all been fantastic. But we had the Taylor Davis Magnificat sing through last night, which was absolutely marvelous and so fun and so fantastic to have um, the composer with us last night. We did a 90-minute, for those of you that were not there, we did a 90-minute rehearsal on a five movement work that most people had not sung before. And then we invited in an orchestra. We didn't invite them. We actually, booked them ahead of time, but we invited them in. And then we sang through the whole thing from beginning to end. And I still think that's an absolutely fantastic piece of music and was so pleased to be able to introduce it to a lot of people last night. And actually, Taylor, the composer who was there, got so many lovely comments from the orchestra members who just thought it was just a terrific piece also. So Albuquerque people, there might be a couple of opportunities for you to sing it. If you want to join the St. John's Choir in December, you should join the St. John's Choir anyway. But if you want to join the St. John's Choir for Christmas, for our lessons and carols, I know we'll be doing at least some of it, if not all of it. And then we are working on a performance for the spring sometime in Albuquerque. Taylor and I have been talking about trying to get some choirs together to do that ahead of our trip to London next June, at which will be performed the 8th of June at Southwark Cathedral. And so if you're interested in learning more about that trip and how you could travel with us and sing it in London, which would be absolutely marvelous, we would love to have you. So yeah, it was a great day yesterday and this morning. We're starting here, and then this evening, kind of one of the wrap-up events of the whole week is we are having a live stream song recital from my living room at about 7 o'clock tonight, not at 7 o'clock tonight. And that concert will feature our four Voces 8 scholars who have been with us all week, Grace and Mary Ruth and Adrian and Corey, who are going to be singing solo songs. There'll be some duets and some quartets and some other fun surprises along the way. So please do tune into that, and furthermore, spread the word. This is a public event, and we would love to have as many people viewing in real time as possible. It's also a bit of a fundraiser for Quintessence, and so if you are feeling inclined to support the work that we do to keep Albuquerque singing, tonight would be a great opportunity to do so. And then tomorrow morning, the closing event of the festival is our last park sing at Bataan Park, Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And if you're not registered for the festival, you're more than welcome to join us. We hope that will be a great way to end this week of singing together. So I hope you have enjoyed everything going on this week. And on this last day, as I mentioned, we have been so lucky to have these four young professional singers with us, and the ones that you haven't got to hear sing solos, you'll get to hear tonight. I talked to Corey and Mary Ruth the other day, and this morning, I'm so pleased to be joined by the other two, Adrian Redford and Grace Kyver, who are joining me from Old Town in Albuquerque, I believe. Grace and Adrian, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
Doing all right.
Good, I'm glad. Are you tired?
A little bit. Last night was a great performance and a lot of mental work, so kind of recharging the batteries a little bit this morning.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Yeah, otherwise doing well. It's been a great week so far.
Mm-hmm.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah, this week always feels like summer camp to me, and that there are all these, great events going on, and then oftentimes you want to hang out with people into the night and, eat and have the occasional beverage. And so there's been a lot of that. And I find that each year that I do this, I get 1 year older, which may be a complicating factor. So I just
I've heard that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So Grace, you are with us from Cincinnati, and Adrian, you're with us from Seattle. And let me just ask you one at a time, kind of the trajectory of your career, how you became involved in singing, what excited you about singing and music making, and then at the tail end, I would love to know how you got involved with Voces 8 Foundation to be one of their scholars. Why don't we start with Grace?
Cool. So I was actually born in Australia and lived there for about 6 years, then moved to the US so that my dad could get his doctorate in choral music, of all things. And so I've had music in my life since I was a little bitty kid. And it was kind of just a thing that was always present in my life ever since I was a baby. And when I got to high school, I tried to be, I think, a graphic designer, but then I realized I spent all my time in school in choirs instead of making an art portfolio. So I was like, I guess this makes sense. And then went to Penn State for music education as my undergrad. And while I was there, I was setting out to be a choral director, but really fell in love with the world of performing, and especially opera performance as well as choral performance. And so I went from Penn State, did my student teaching, said thanks, but no thanks. I think I'm gonna go back to school, and went to CCM, the College Conservatory of Music in Cincinnati, for my master's in vocal performance, which was a mostly opera and solo singing degree. But my career has sort of been centered around trying to walk the line between operatic and choral performing, since they are both huge loves of mine. So I think it was 2018 when we were in 2019 was, yeah. So we auditioned for the Voces 8 US Scholars Program in 2019, and 2019, and basically just heard about it through some of the choral spheres that I was in Cincinnati. At the time, it was this new program for American young professional choral singers, and was like, oh, why not? I'm not doing anything else this upcoming year, and so went to Kalamazoo to audition, successfully made it into the group. And then we spent 3 separate weeks throughout the school year in different parts of the United States doing different things. So the first week of the festival, we were in Dallas, and basically there were 12 of us singers. We were basically putting an ensemble together for the first time. Then in a second week in November, we went out to Minnesota to record the pieces we prepared in the first week at NPR Studios, and basically created, pretty much a CD of our little ensemble. And then in March, the week before everything shut down for good, we were in Houston with the actual Voces 8, learning from them, teaching with them, and putting together a performance at the end of the week. And that was actually the last concert that we did in the before times. So it was quite the experience, all told, and not a bad way to kick off the end of the world. So
True. There could be worse ways.
Yes. So that's kind of my story. I'll let Adrian take the stand now.
Sure. I grew up doing music in churches. We would go to services on Sunday, and we just do some group singing. I was involved with the Awanas program, which involved a bunch of youth activity within the church throughout the weeks. So that's kind of how I got my start in singing there. I joined choir in middle school as a baby soprano, and had a good career up until my freshman year of high school, when puberty hit and suddenly became a low bass. I went to a performance arts high school, and where I studied choral music, and that's kind of how I got the bug. I'd like to give a shout out to Morton Lordson and his O Mani Mysterium. That was the first piece that was like let's try this. Yeah. This is nice. So yeah, high school showed me a lot of choir. I did a lot of honor choir and all-state things, and those were really fun to kind of get a bit of work with all the different musicians in the state of Nevada. Good fun. I went to college in Claremont, California. I went to Pomona College, where I studied. Oh, look, you have a cat.
Yes, sorry. If you've been hearing rustling behind me, the 2 cats are playing / fighting. And this is Truffle. Don't be distracted. Carry on.
No worries. Well, I love them very much. So let's see. I sang in choir all throughout college. Decided to take a major in film for some reason, but I remained in the ensembles every semester. I was picking up extra work here and there. I just wanted to be singing all the time. I wasn't really fond much of the solo singing. I really liked the collaborative effort of working with an ensemble. And I enjoyed leadership within the ensemble. It felt great to be a part of the artistic vision of the performances we would give. So that was kind of what I decided to set my focus on. Then I graduated and started working in tech and film because why not? We're in LA, this is what's popular, let's see what's going on. And I eventually found myself feeling very empty and sore because I hadn't been singing in an ensemble for about 3 years and I was missing something. So I asked my core director, Dr. Donna DeGrazia at Pomona College, what do you think I should do for music? And she said, well, you can sing here on occasion, but why don't you go audition for the Los Angeles Master Chorale? They are a 100 voice professional ensemble, highly regarded, been around for quite a long time. And, you know, just audition and see what happens. I got very lucky and was able to grab one of those coveted spots as a baritone on the roster. And this September will mark my fifth season with the chorale. And it's been a really, really wonderful journey. I've gotten to sing with Zubin Mehta, and we work with Gustavo Dudamel pretty often. Grant Gershon and Jenny Wong, Dr. Jenny Wong, are quite lovely artistic directors to work with. The musical and choral scene in Los Angeles is bustling, quite wonderful. I was doing a good work in different studios for films and games and soundtracks here and there. I was singing at churches pretty regularly. What else? We were doing a lot of good outreach around schools in the area, trying to, you know, bolster up the community music, just making sure that it stays in schools and in communities, because, you know, that's been waxing and waning a bit. My kind of claim here, my little star on my jacket, is I started an ensemble, a fledgling Renaissance ensemble, unconducted. The name is Prism, and we are in the middle of our 3rd year of operation. We haven't been able to produce a concert, but we have a few virtual projects coming out that I am working on currently. The computer's at home, but the work will be there when I arrive. So that's been a really fun project to work on as an artistic director. So that's been cool. So we started that ensemble, and then I was kind of looking through the different professional and community ensembles on Facebook, and I happened upon the Vachese page, just like, oh, why don't we follow each other? And I saw that they had an advert for the Scholars program, and I saw that the dates were kind of close and I could maybe get an audition in. I was like, okay, good. Let's see what happens here. I'm a Vachese super fan, fangirling all over the place. Let's see what happens. So I sent my materials in. Sam Dressel wrote back and said, great, come see us in Albuquerque. And I came here in March of 2019 and had my audition. And it just so happened that Contestants was here doing a bunch of great things. And the day after my audition, Eric Jacobson, the general manager for the US division of the foundation, said, hey, we're doing beer choir tomorrow if you want to come. So I showed up at Beer Choir the day after my audition and had a rollicking time. And that really solidified my love for the music here in Albuquerque. So I'm really glad to be back again this year. It felt meant to be. So I'm really happy to be here with you all.
Yeah, I'm so happy that both of you are here this week. And yeah, you at least had some experience in beer choir, Adrian. God bless the other 3 who were, you know, thrown into it the other night.
Right. I was like, I just grab a pint and hang out. That's like,
yeah, it was very fun. It was very fun to have you both involved. So that's fantastic. One follow-up question for each of you, and for Grace, I'm interested to know, because I know that, like, especially in your master's work, opera has been a big love for you. Is you're still a person who likes ensemble singing and solo singing, or is there a difference in how you use your voice doing opera work and being in a choral ensemble?
Yeah, you know, I think that's what is important. If you want to do both, it's really important to get to know your own voice very, very well, and to figure out ways to approach both styles in a healthy manner. So I think that's what I spent a lot of my time at CCM doing, because I was doing all this opera stuff at school, and then, you know, most of my gigging outside of school was with choral ensembles. And so finding ways to kind of switch back and forth between those styles, and also to get into the different headspaces for those styles, was quite interesting and quite rewarding. Ever since the pandemic, I found that I miss choral ensemble singing more than operatic singing. I don't think I'll ever shut the door on solo singing, but I definitely, the pandemic has been useful in that I've kind of realized that my heart truly lies with the ensemble. So yeah, there's just something about, again, community music making, achieving art together as opposed to
Yes.
separately, and sort of, I like, you know, figuring out what the choir needs, and then figuring out how my voice can fit that need, again, in a way that's, you know, healthy and conducive to good singing. So
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting to hear. Adrian, I was curious to know from you, because I've been a fan of the Los Angeles Master Chorale for a long, long, long time. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that in that context, you've gotten to work with like Gustavo Dudamel, the artistic director of the LA Phil, a lot, and Zubin Mehta. How are those conductors in working with singers, in your opinion? I'm particularly curious about Dudamel.
Yeah, so Duty, as we sometimes call him, he is incredibly kind to the chorale. He's a big fan of us, and we drool and fawn over him. He's just such a what's the word? Accommodating conductor. You know, when he knows that we know what we're doing, and he will give us a mark here or there. We pick it up, take it, and you know, we're no fuss, no muss in the background. His conducting is very inclusive, you know, so it's not just for the orchestra or the what do we call it, ensemble, symphony, ensemble, orchestra? Is orchestra fine?
I think
orchestra
describes it well. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's for the entire room, I'll say. He conducts for all musicians involved. Big fun for us. We did Mahler 2, and he conducts the entire thing from memory, which I thought was very incredible. He just kind of shows up, sits in. It's fantastic. And he knows the music inside and out, knows the chorale inside and out. So he's been a delight to work with. And Zubin Mehta as well, you know, knows the pieces very, very well. It's kind of what comes as it's the reputation of the chorale that we're kind of, you know, set and forget. Which is big pressure for us as singers, you know, because we know that every time we step on the stage, we have to bring A++ game. But the directors we work with have all been incredibly kind to the chorale. And I haven't experienced an instance in where the conductor of an orchestra doesn't know how to speak with a choir. You know, so I know that that's a concern for many, and folks do run into that problem. And I've had it happen a couple of times at different community places or collegiate ensembles here or there. But for the most part, in the pro world, people are, you know, music is music, and everybody sees everybody. And it's a good time had by all. Yeah, I don't think anybody feels slighted in the least. You know?
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
We have a couple of videos to play, and the first one is the one that Grace submitted, and it is actually a virtual project that was done by the scholars, both US and UK scholars, I think. Would you set this up for us, Grace?
Yeah, so this was one of the projects that we did in February of this year. It is Domine tu mihi lavas pedes, and it is written by Nunes Garcia, who is a Brazilian composer. He was a Brazilian classical composer and the first to write a Brazilian opera. And he was also the grandson of slaves. So he was a really important figure, both in terms of, you know, diversity in classical composers, and also, you know, just a trailblazer for Brazilian music. So the translation of this piece, roughly, it's the story of Lord, are you going to wash my feet? And then Jesus responds, I must wash your feet or you will have no part with me. So it's really reverent and also a bit foreboding, because it never resolves to the part where he says, okay, you can wash my feet. It just ends after he says, do this or else. So what's particularly striking to me is the fact that Domine is repeated twice at the very beginning. And the second time, the dynamic is pushed way, way back. And it's very sort of reverent and yeah, very cool. So we recorded this over quarantine, obviously. You'll be able to tell. And it was interesting because by that point, all of us had kind of mastered the art of virtual choir thing. It was a thing that we all had to learn how to do. I don't ever want to do it again, but this was the piece that we recorded together that I was most proud of. So
beautiful.
enjoy.
Well, let's hear it. Beautiful, really beautiful. It's remarkable the degree to which, I mean, I think probably that set of voices may be easier to match than people who have been doing virtual choirs with like community choirs and church choirs, but still it's remarkable how that really does sound like an ensemble.
Yeah, it was a bit of a put together. We definitely had to have rehearsals, quote unquote, where we did have to really establish what sound we were trying to go for without being able to be in the same room and actually match that sound together. And you know that piece has a bit of ebb and flow in the tempo, and we also had to match that with just a click track. I don't even think it was a click track. I think it was just a piano part, and so it was quite challenging. I remember I had one take, I was like right at the end, like in the quiet part at the very end, and then bang, 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 you got a package. And so it was a real a trial and a tribulation, but we were pretty happy with the result.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Adrian, what did you bring to show us?
All right, I brought a, I guess you could call it a parody video of Thomas Morley's Now Is the Month of Maying. I wanted to release something for the May morning celebrations. I did it a day late because internet. So what I've done is I wanted to write a little goofy piece about how quickly time has been passing since the change of the year. May appeared after the new year very, very quickly. Like we went through 5 months way too quickly. And things were starting to open back up. People were becoming vaccinated. The world was seeming to become filled with life again. And I was not ready. It's like, oh, okay, who is allowing this to happen? Like, I did not sign up for any of this yet. Why are there people next to me? Like, I'm in the store. This is horrible. So I had this kind of like bit of anxiety about quarantine. So I decided to, pen some new lyrics to it. So in the first time round, you'll hear me talk a little bit about how quickly things are moving. In the second bit, you'll hear me chat a bit about the joy of, things maybe finally coming back to a sense of normalcy. We have vaccines now. We're ready to fight Corona. We're done with this. And then in the third time round, I get a little cheeky and talk about my experience making the little multi-track video. I have found with lots of Renaissance music that the quintus part is usually the most complex. You'll have, soprano, alto, and tenor bass, and you'll have, okay, great, this is pretty good polyphony, all right, I understand. And then the quintus gets stuck in the middle, like, okay, let's do some acrobatics, let's fill in things that weren't there before, and let's make some motion here. No breathing for you. And I found that to be quite challenging. So I talked a little bit about that and how the tenor part I thought was an absolute waste. So that's a little bit about there. I decided to wear a different hat in each video to match a different mask that I had. Masks became fashion for me, so I decided to pick up a bunch of different ones. So yes, that's what you'll be looking at in just a few seconds there. Now is the month of May, a la Quarantine, by Thomas Morley, as performed by myself.
Okay, so this is Adrian Redford, and Adrian Redford singing his own parody of Now is the Month of May. Enjoy.
Now is the month of May, 2021 ain't plain. Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 fa la la. Believe me when I'm saying my hairs have all been graying. Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 fa la la. It's all gone by too fast. I've barely felt it pass. La 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 la. Whose foot is on the gas? Please slow it down, I ask. La 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 la. The spring hath brought us vaxes and great hope to the masses. Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la. Perhaps we're moving past it. I hope this is the last of it. Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la. I pray this logic sound. We won't be jerked around. La 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 la. It's time to beat her down. Destroy Miss Rona's crown. La 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 la. A note about this music, what drugs were Morley using? Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la. Of all the pots for choosing, the quintus is confusing. Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la. The tenor is a waste. And often thought it be la 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 la. The rest are fine, I'd say, for a song to herald May. La 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 la.
Adrian, that is fantastic.
Thank you. I have a lot of fun doing things like that. I used to post lots of goofy videos on Instagram when I had one, quite of the same. So it was fun to kind of bring that back a bit.
Yeah, that's really, really great. And I commend you for using your time so well during quarantine. Not all of us did that, I must say. I certainly didn't.
The one thing I did in the 18 months.
Yeah. Well, friends, it's been great chatting with you this morning. Before we say goodbye to you, I want you to be in on our final giveaway of the week. We are this morning, by trivia question, giving away a Voces 8 recording. This is a recent Voces 8 recording called Enchanted Isle, which features music from the UK from a variety of periods. It's absolutely gorgeous stuff, as you might expect. And kind of the one track on the CD that a lot of choirs have been doing and has been getting a lot of play was an arrangement by Blake Morgan of a song called Caledonia. Caledonia is the song that I think people have been hearing a lot of from this particular CD. So the question this morning is, Caledonia was the Roman name of what region of the UK? Which region of the UK did the Romans call Caledonia? And I don't think, well, I posed this to Adrian and Grace beforehand. I don't think they knew. So I hope somebody knows so that we can give the CD
I feel
away.
a little bad. I have a British passport, but I didn't know the answer.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah. Grace is originally from Australia, so she has a British passport.
Yeah, it
anyone?
makes sense somehow.
Yes, of course.
Caledonia? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? There you go. Ruth Striegel gets the answer. Ruth Striegel, who won a CD yesterday as well.
Oh,
Scotland. Yeah. So maybe Ruth and Johanna, we can have you fight it out since Ruth won a CD yesterday. If you both want a CD, we'll give you a CD. The answer is Scotland. Caledonia is Scotland. So thank you very much for playing. Other answers are coming in. The answer is Scotland. Before we say goodbye to Grace and Adrian, I want to bring on my two colleagues who have been helping to run all the virtual stuff this week. Sarah Langworthy in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Adam Reinwald usually is in Minnesota, but he's somewhere in the wilds of Oregon right now. I think Eugene, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for keeping this going. And I mean, I'm saying goodbye like it's the end, but probably your biggest work is ahead of you because you're going to be running the virtual song recital tonight. And so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, Matt, you got me locked in my office editing all afternoon. It's all your fault.
Sorry about that. It'll be worth it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Adam and Sarah are the ones who made the entirely virtual festival last summer happen, and also our Valentine's Day, whatever that was called, Love Virtually. It seems like a long time ago.
It does.
Which was also fantastic. So Sarah and Adam, thanks again for being along for the ride.
Thanks for having us.
And just a reminder that tonight at 7:00 is the song recital live streamed from Albuquerque that is open to anyone. So please share the link. You'll get to hear these two fantastic singers we've been talking with today and their colleagues, Mary, Ruth, and Corey. And they'll be doing solo songs, duets, quartets, and it'll be well worth viewing. And then please turn out tomorrow for the final big sing of the week in Bataan Memorial Park. We hope to see you for both of those things. Grace, Adrian, Adam, Sarah, thanks for being here. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Bye,
Take care.
everybody.